Hi guys, my name is Tyler Durstein, and today I chose a pretty cool TED Talk, and it was actually about redefining esports and the significance in today's world. And the author of this TED Talk was actually, his name is James Hodge, and I wrote down a few of his major bullet points throughout the presentation, and I just want to make sure I'm able to touch on all these for you guys. So James works at a company called Splunk. And this company is something where they work together to really simulate through data more efficiently and effectively. And he is big on the data and tech department, and he runs it very efficiently. He's great. And through his data, he's actually able to look into esports more and how they are affecting the world and affecting the younger generations and stuff like that. So I wanted to touch on how I came about this topic. I played sports growing up. I loved them. I play video games on the side sometimes. And now we're seeing a world where these two topics are fitting together. They are more significant. We're seeing kids that are able to live out dreams that they can't do with their bodies. Maybe they weren't tall enough, they weren't fast enough, something they can't control. But they can get a controller in their hand and they can ultimately reach the same goal, just in a different context. So a summary of this video, it was very touching. He actually met a guy, his name was Rudy, and he made a really good example of how esports have changed Rudy's life. And it was super cool because Rudy grew up young. He raced go-karts. He was fast. He was effective. He loved it. He started to get older. He was really hoping to make it to that big stage. And sadly enough, he couldn't afford the next step. So this was really tough for him, but he moved on with life. He got a job. He went out and bought a video game device, and he started to play video games. Well, he ultimately started to get really good at it, and he loved it. Spent time with his friends. He started playing fast games where it required your fingers to be extremely quick and effective with their movements. And he actually entered into a competition where it was called World's Fastest Gamer, I believe, and 30,000 people entered into this competition, and ultimately Rudy came out on top, which to me, one person out of 30,000, that's pretty incredible. And this kind of touches back on why I chose this video, with my interest in sports and esports and everything like that. To see someone who was cut short of their dream make it to this level where he won this competition, and it was great because he actually got invited to a professional racing company where he was able to do the simulations on the tracks, and he was able to effectively help this company be successful. And this is just, it's what I said about reaching your goal in a different context. So now he's not a professional racer, but he gets to work every single day with professional racers, and he gets to help them be successful in everything. And that's just, it's truly incredible to me. But as this TED Talk was going along, I did develop some questions that I felt were serious and they needed to be asked just for my sake. And I was just really curious about how esports are going to affect the younger generation. Is it going to affect them too much to where they're not going outside, they're not hanging out with their families, and they're just consumed by video games? And he answered this question a little bit throughout his TED Talk, and it kind of gave me some context that these kids just need a little bit of guidance from their parents to make sure they're not doing this too much and they're not taking advantage of time inside. And my second question was, how are esports and regular sports, how do they tie together? And the ultimate goal that some people have with their games in esports is to eventually merge together and kind of have the same amount of competitions and competitive level both ways, which would be awesome. I really do think it would be. And the way he talks about esports throughout his TED Talk, it really drives home the point that at some point we could work together with esports and regular in-person sports. and they could have the same amount of importance to people across the world. And my third one is, how can we make esports fair for everybody? And this was kind of a tough question for me to ask, because I don't want to get into salaries and stuff like that, but it'd be cool if this kid his dream is to play PGA 2025, a golf game on a PlayStation. If he wants to play that competitively, but he can't afford it, that kid might not be able to compete at the same level as kids that had it and they've been playing it for a long time. So this was a big question for me, because I've always believed that everybody should have the same opportunities. That is all I have for you guys. It was a really informational and pretty cool TED Talk, I think. It was nice to see the sports and esports get compared together and talked about in the same context. Thank you, guys.